this afternoon. Sorry, I know I'm moving away. Thank you all for being here. I just wanted to let you all have an opportunity to speak with us about what we have found. We have been engaged for the last several days on a congressional delegation led by Minority Leader and former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who has brought quite a number of members of Congress down to visit Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands to determine what stage we are almost a year now after the devastation of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. We've had really great talks with community people. We've also learned and talked with people who are directly affected, as well as the policymakers, as well as our good governor. I want to thank Governor Mapp for being here and the great work that his team has done in supporting this one day, both on St. John and on St. Thomas. We flew over here from Puerto Rico this morning, went to the island of St. John, went to Coral Bay to tour the entire island, met with those at Myra Keating, then came back to St. Thomas. We've done a tour of the island of St. Thomas, as well as meeting with people at Roy Lester Schneider Regional Hospital, and also with the Water and Power Authority at their facility, because we know that this rebuilding has begun and there's so much work that still needs to be there. I also want to thank Bill Vogel and his team who were a part of the discussions that we had and how we can work together collectively from the local government as well as the federal government. And part of what the members of Congress wanted to find out in this discussion is the legislation that we worked on. These members of Congress, particularly Leader Pelosi, my good friend Nydia Velasquez in New York, but who is a native of Puerto Rico, and so many of the members you saw here, really wanted to ensure that the islands of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands of the United States had the money they needed, not just to recover, not just to rebuild, but to be better than before. And I'm grateful that they heard the discussions that both Governor Mapp and myself and many others made in Washington, that there were so many pre-existing circumstances, so many things that the deficiencies that the territories had before the storm that made the devastation even greater than it would have been if it had been anywhere else in the United States. That, of course, is due to the disparity we receive in federal funding from areas such as health and Medicaid, the CMS rebasing of our hospitals, and also such things as the amount of money we receive from federal highways for our roads as well. And we are grateful that Congress heard those discussions, really had great respect and understanding of what the territories needed, and they put into and changed the Stafford Act so that there's money now to make us more resilient and better than we were before. That we can have the microgrids, alternative energy, and the things that will make us be able to harden our system so if, God forbid, there be another storm, we're better. But not just for the storms, but to support our economy and so that we can grow as a territory. So I'd like to introduce Governor Mapp. If you could say a few words to those of us that are here, that'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Plaskett. First, let me say good afternoon, and I want to start by thanking Congresswoman Plaskett, Stacey, as we affectionately call her, for her hard work in the Congress in spreading the story about the U.S. Virgin Islands and what we American citizens that live in the Virgin Islands, what we experience, what we are trying to accomplish, and how we are really working hard to rebuild and recover our territory. So I want to thank you, Stacey, for working with Leader Pelosi, for putting this delegation. I want to thank all of you. I was really happy to welcome all of the members of Congress for being here. As a people, we are honored when you come. And I believe this delegation makes, so far I've been trying to keep count with this Congresswoman Plaskett. I think this is going to bring us close to about 130 members of Congress that would have been through the Virgin Islands since the hurricanes. And we're glad that you are here. It warms the hearts of our people because it shows the interest and the concern of the Congress to the citizens in this territory. Your support that you provided for us by your vote on February 9th and your change in the statute that helps the Virgin Islands rebuild more strong, more resilient, we want to say thank you. There is much work to do. There's much more work to do with with FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers and HUD and HHS, and continued work with you, the members of Congress, to continue to bring change so that the recovery can go uninhibited. Our challenge today is to make sure we get as many coated roofs on homes as we're going through the hurricane season. So you being in the Virgin Islands today and speaking with our citizens, speaking with our medical practitioners, speaking with the folks at the Water and Power Authority, going to Tutu High Rise and seeing the devastation there that residents went through with the hurricanes coming through is real. You will take that message back with your colleagues and talk from first-hand experience. So I want to thank you all, extending warm Virgin Islands welcome and a big hug up to each and every one of you. I'm so honored to stand next to you here, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. We know you, I know your history, and I'm just honored to be here with you today, as I am with all of the members of the Congress. And Congresswoman Plaskett, thank you so much for a job well done. We really, really appreciate it. God bless you.
And now I'd like to introduce to you the Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi of California.
Good afternoon, everyone. What an honor it is to be here with so many members of the House of Representatives to come to the Virgin Islands. We were in Puerto Rico yesterday at the invitation of Stacey Plaskett, Representative Plaskett. Behind me here, alongside of us, are members of Congress from very important committees of jurisdiction that affect the distribution of funds from FEMA. Secondly, many of them have large Caribbean populations in their districts, including, where is my friend? Kendrick Weeks, right here. And Gregory. His wife was from the Virgin Islands. Gregory Meeks of New York, thank you. And of course, we're here with the Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, who was born in Puerto Rico. So the whole idea of what needs to be done, knowledge of the issue, commitment from the communities that we represent, and frankly, many have had natural disasters in our own district. So we come here with some knowledge, with some judgment about how we can be helpful. But what we needed to hear was from the community. We were at the Guy Benjamin Firehouse and Community Center earlier, as the governor referenced. We were there in Coral Bay, and then we were healthcare providers briefed us on those needs. We talked and listened to Water and Power about how to go forward and the rest. But the question is that Stacey worked very hard to make sure, even though the bill had many poison pills, to make sure there were enough votes that those bills would pass. Her standing, her knowledge, the respect she commands in the Congress made that possible. Now we have to make sure the administration spends the money in a much more accelerated way, because the needs don't stretch out, they just intensify. And of course, we're concerned about what could happen next. I always see everything as an opportunity. These hurricanes were an opportunity now to do something, to leapfrog over the past ways of doing things, to make the future so much better. I saw a sign when we were in Charlotte Amalie, and it said, the Virgin Islands, America's paradise. That's the case. Paradise has its rewards, and we want to make sure that the fulfillment for the people of these islands comes in a time that is faster than the pace that is going on now. With respect to FEMA and all the volunteers and workers at FEMA for the job that they do. But as Stacey said, that we're all by first name in our own district, as Congresswoman Plaskett said, there were many challenges before the hurricanes. It took the hurricanes to put the spotlight on what some of the needs were. So let us use this as an opportunity to make the future better, to leapfrog over old ways of doing things, become more dependent on renewables instead of fossil fuels, which only exacerbate, speed up the hurricanes. But again, to have judgments made with community involvement in them. I just want to say what an honor it is to be here at the University of the Virgin Islands and to thank Mitchell Reeves. Vice President, thank you for the hospitality and to hear and learn about marine science and things that you are doing, that you're in the lead here on. So again, these members, we don't come here to have a conversation.